Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter-Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A very short-run science fiction show, in fact, the only one we know of that ran on CBS, Beyond Tomorrow. This was originally broadcast April 11th, 1950. This episode entitled Incident-at-Switchpath, a Theodore Sturgeon story about two strange machines found buried deep in a cave. And we thank you for tuning in. On this Monday, 11th day of April, 101st day of the year, 264 days remaining until we get to 2023. This is celebrated as International Louie Day. Yeah, this is Richard Berry, the author's birthday. Sadly, he signed away the rights to the legendary song in 1959. Louie Louie. Louie. And let's see, on this date in history, Abe Lincoln made his last public speech. The Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks organized on this date in 1876. Eisenhower revealed his theory of relativity on this date in 1905. Iowa became the first state to impose a cigarette tax in 1921. U.S. forces liberated the Buchenwald concentration camp in 1945. In 1951, President Truman relieved General MacArthur of overall command in Korea. The Palm Sunday tornado outbreak on this date in 1965. 51 tornadoes hit in 6 Midwestern states, 256 were killed. And in 1968, Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1968 prohibiting discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of housing. On that same date, 1968, in Santa Monica, the Academy Awards took place. Host Bob Hope had words regarding the recent killing of Martin Luther King Jr.
The men who began our industry had at least one thing in common with the man from Atlanta. They had a dream. It has taken time, but the dreams of the merchants and the martyr have begun to merge. If not out of idealism, then out of necessity. Another martyr said it all. United we stand, divided we fall.
Now, in those 1968 Academy Awards, In the Heat of the Night won Best Picture. The big story about Best Picture, Dr. Dolittle was nominated, and Truman Capote's In Cold Blood was not. And that was controversial. Apollo 13 launched on this date in 1970, and the first of 4 sets of subpoenas from the House Judiciary Committee on this date in 1974 were ignored by the Nixon administration, and that moved Senator Sam Erwin to threaten more.
We don't like the surgeon's knife, but sometimes it comes a cancer. That the only way you can eradicate it is by the use of the surgeon's knife. And I think you can have such a thing as a cancer on the body politic. It has to be eradicated the same way. And I'm frank to state, and I'm not stating this in nature of a threat, but I've been given, as chairman of that committee, a mission to perform.
And the Nixon administration just refused to cooperate. In 1981, President Reagan returned to the White House from the hospital 12 days after he was wounded in an assassination attempt. Cher won her only Academy Award on this date in 1988 for Best Actress in the movie Moonstruck.
I don't think that this means that I am somebody, but I guess I'm on my way. Thank you.
Cher had been nominated for Best Actress in a Supporting Role 4 years earlier for her role in Silkwood. The detained crew of a U.S. EP-3E aircraft that landed in Hainan People's Republic of China on this date in 2001 after a collision with a fighter released on this date in 2001. Charges dropped against 3 former Duke University lacrosse players who were falsely accused of rape in 2007, and it was a year ago today, 20-year-old Dante Wright shot and killed in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota by Officer Kimberly Potter, sparking protests in the city where the officer mistakes her own gun for her taser. Passing away on this date in history, Francis Marcellus Church, the editor and publisher, the man responsible for Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus, actress Dolores Del Rio, June Pointer of the Pointer Sisters, actor Roscoe Lee Brown, author Kurt Vonnegut, Jonathan Winters, and Jay Giles of the Jay Giles Band. Born on this date in history, Secretary of State Dean Acheson, Secretary of State for 4 different presidents, from mannequin and designing women, Meshack Taylor, and the only real world heavyweight champion, Harley Race. The happy birthday number 91 to Ethel Kennedy. And by the way, we're going to be dropping some of these people off of our birthday list, primarily because for some reason they have refused to verify their birthdays anymore. And we followed these on Wikipedia for some time. And now they're just deleting their birth dates. So fine, we'll just not acknowledge them at all. Joel Gray of Cabaret is 90. Louise Lasser from Mary Hartman, 83. You remember Little Mason Reese? He's gotten to be a real mess. And he's one of those people who has withdrawn their birthday from Wikipedia. So we assume they're still 57, but they're gone now. English singer Lisa Stansfield, All Around the World Tonight, is 56. The son of Dusty Rhodes, Dustin Patrick Runnels, his real name, 53 years old, still busy training, and still busy in the ring today. Not as often, but at 53, it's hard to. Another one we're dropping off the list is Jennifer Esposito. We think she's 49, but we don't know. And English singer Joss Stone is 35. Those some of the people who celebrate the 11th day of April as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you!
From 72 years ago today, April 11th, 1950, Beyond Tomorrow, the Incident-at-Switchpath on this Monday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station.
Hi, this is Kyle Horvath with the White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Board. If you want to get away from the big cities and get back to nature this summer, give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net. There's so much to do and see I can't mention it in 30 seconds, but check out our website and you'll see what Nevada is really all about. elinevada.net or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net.
You've heard me talking for over 3 years about MyPillow and the great products they have. There's some great specials right now when you go to mypillow.com/radio specials. You can find Giza Dream Sheets as low as $39.99. 6-piece MyPillow towel sets, deeply discounted, $39.95. And of course, half price My Slippers, which make my feet feel wonderful. All sorts of great products, including the MyPillow mattress topper, a MyPillow for the rest of your body. Go to mypillow.com/radio specials. That's mypillow.com/radio specials. Use my promo code USA, or you can call 1-800-951-8175. That's 1-800-951-8175. mypillow.com/radio specials, promo code USA. Now on Classic Radio Theater, one of those rare shows, only 3 episodes were known to be broadcast of Beyond Tomorrow from 72 years ago, April 11th, 1950. This is the second of the 3 episodes, Incident-at-Switchpath.
Now for tonight's story. Let's go Beyond Tomorrow. Are you afraid to face tomorrow, or whatever may lie beyond tomorrow? Do you think you're up to spending a weekend on the moon, or entertaining house guests from Mars? Can you and your children adjust to the strange, new, wonderful world that is being wrought in the test tubes and cyclotrons of science beyond tomorrow? Beyond Tomorrow, a new program of probabilities drawn from the vast library of science fiction. where anything is possible and possibly may happen to you. Tonight, based on a famous story by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted by Draper Lewis, a tale about a man accused of murder in a small western town who insists it was not murder, but something really much worse.
All right! I'm presiding coroner here, and I'll handle this inquest my way, if you don't mind.
All right.
Now, look, Kemp. Why can't you get it through your head that nobody's trying to railroad you into admitting anything? You're just a fella knows something about the death of this here Alessandro Sykes. And this court would like to know exactly what happened.
I'll tell you what happened. That kid killed Sykes, killed him dead in the doornail, and then brought the body back here and dumped it in his hotel room. That's what happened.
No, you're wrong. I didn't kill him. You're trying to accuse me of murder, but I tell you it's something worse. Something much, much worse than murder.
What's if we don't have it quiet in this courtroom, I'm going to have the sheriff clear the place. This inquest is going to be run legal-like or ain't going to be run at all.
You mean maybe we should have the hanging right now, Bert?
I didn't say no such thing.
Well, maybe you should and stop wasting so much time.
Well, that's
Mr. Wilson, sir, you can't let him hang me. I'm innocent, I tell you. I didn't kill Sykes. Aren't you even going to listen to what I got to say?
Sure, son, I'm going to listen. We're all going to listen. Or I'm taking this boy into Tucson where there's a jury that will listen.
Well, this better be good. We don't like murder around Switchpath.
No, and we don't like strangers neither.
If you gentlemen are through now, suppose we hear what the boy has to say. All right, son. Now, let's get the facts straight first off. Your full name?
James Gordon Kemp.
And your home?
Chicago, Illinois.
City bred, huh? Maybe that's why he don't give no mind to something like murder.
I thought you was always so proud about the times you've been to Tucson, Hafferty.
Huh?
Seems to me wearing silk shirts is pretty city-fied, too.
What kind of talk is that?
All right. Here, son. Sit down.
Thank you.
Now, suppose you tell us what happened. Tell us the whole story just like it happened.
Okay. I'll try. I guess I'd better go right back to the beginning. The first time I ever saw this here Sykes. It must have been about 2 months ago. I had a little repair shop at the time, just auto parts and maybe fooling around with radios and TV sets now and then. It didn't make no big profit, but it paid the rent and gave me a little extra pocket money. I was working in my shop one afternoon when he walked in. He watched what I was doing a couple of minutes. Then he spoke up.
You Gordon Kemp?
I said yes and looked him over. He was a scrawny fella, probably 60 years old, and wound up real tight. He talked fast, smoked fast, moved fast, as if there wasn't time for anything, but he had to get on to something else. I asked him what he wanted.
You the man who had that article in the magazine about a concentrated atomic torch?
Yeah, only that guy from the magazine used a lot of loose talk. He says my torch is 300 years ahead of its time. Actually, it's something I stumbled on by accident, more or less. It's an ordinary atomic hydrogen torch, but it's plenty hot. It'll cut anything. Anything. And since it got patented, you'd be surprised at the calls I got. You got no idea how many people want to cut into bank vaults and the side doors of hock shops.
Like to take a few weeks off and go out west? Arizona? I want you to cut your way into a cave there.
A cave? Is it legal?
Sure it's legal.
How legal?
You get me into that place, you can satisfy yourself as to whether it's legal. I'll give you $5,000.
What?
Cash.
How's that again?
Get me into that cave, and you'll get $5,000. Cash.
How come you happened to run across this here cave, Professor Sykes? Didn't anyone else in Switchpath ever spot it?
From what I can gather, there must have been a shifting of rock. Maybe a slight earth tremor that opened it up. The time I was fresh out of college, spending all my time digging for Indian ruins, I found it at the bottom of a deep cleft. A small, dark room, all rock walls. It was rock that was very old. A couple of 100,000 years. Maybe 500,000.
500,000?
It wasn't the rock that got me so excited. It wasn't the rock and it wasn't the cave. It was the machinery in the cave. Machinery that must have been put there before there were any human beings on Earth.
Oh, now, just a minute, Professor.
Now, look. I don't care whether you believe me or not. I know what I'm talking about. Those machines were installed in that cave room back when there wasn't a single living creature of any sort.
But that doesn't make sense. If there are machines, then some human beings must have made them. Some human beings must have hauled them into the cave and assembled them. Only you say there weren't any human beings on Earth.
Maybe not on Earth, Kemp. But there are human beings someplace else. At least, beings. Who knows whether they're human or not?
Wow. That's a nice, pleasant thought.
Yes. I thought so, too, at the time. I've gotten used to it now. I got used to it during all the days and nights I stayed in that room and studied that machinery.
What kind of machinery was it?
Well, I finally figured out that one of them was some sort of a radio transmitter. Now, get this. Here's a machine with an antenna on top of it, just like a microwave job. Beside it is another machine. The second machine is shaped like a dumbbell standing on one end. Top of it is sort of a covered hopper. At the waist of the machine are two big spools with a wire running between them made out of some alloy that was never seen before on this Earth.
Were they running?
One was running, making a slight humming sound. The dumbbell machine was running, and that's what gave me a clue to what it was. That machine is a recorder. And that automatically makes the other machine a transmitter.
A recorder? What kind of a recorder?
It records the physical being of the entire Earth. Every earthquake, every continental shift, weather cycles, every hurricane and volcano eruption and landslide. Now here, take a look at this.
Piece of wire, huh? About 35 gauge. Plenty tough.
Yes. I cut it off the recording machine. Kemp, my boy, it took a long time, a lot of years out of my life. I finally got it decoded. I can read that wire. You've no idea in what detail that piece of wire records, second by second, minute by minute, day by day, through the years, through the centuries. When I start my decoding, I'll be able to prove things which until now have only been guessed, only whispered about in the history books of the world. I'll be able to give the exact time and date when the Red Sea parted for the fleeing Israelites. You want to know what happened to the Spanish Armada? I have it all here. What about the last days of Pompeii? I have it, son. I have it. And I am going to give it to the world. Me, Alessandro Sykes. I'll give it to humanity complete and provable, and history will be reckoned from the day I speak.
I admit he did sound a little off his rocker. And if I had any sense, I would have gotten off that train and gone back to Chicago. But he was such a nice little guy. As nice a little character as you'd ever want to meet. And he figured he had something big in that cave.
I'm not going to listen to
Yes, I tell you, something important enough that he'd been living with it, thinking about it, working on it day in and day out for 30 years or more. You can't let that kind of a guy down.
All of us here knew Sykes pretty well, Camp. His family was among the first settlers in Switchpath. Came in on a wagon train just before the rush in 49. We knew he spent a lot of time digging around in the desert, but we never heard about no cave.
It's 30 miles or so to the east of town. You pass a big rock formation. It's shaped like a crescent. The cave's a little further
I've been out by Crescent Rock more times than I can count, and I never see no cave.
But you wouldn't see it if you didn't climb into the cleft.
Something happened out there just about 2 years ago. Ground was hot for miles around. All the grass shriveled up and died. Nothing's grown there since.
Yeah, besides, if Sykes had found a cave, he certainly would have told somebody here in town. Ain't like he was an outsider, if you know what I mean.
Well, sure.
That cave was there. It's not there now, but it was there, and I was in it. Sykes didn't tell anyone else about it because he knew no one would believe him. He wanted to get his proof first.
And what makes you think we believe you, Kemp?
This is the truth, I'm telling you. This is how it happened.
And you still haven't told us about the killing yet.
No, how about that?
I said this inquest was going to be run legal now,
I
boys.
say we're wasting a lot of time. The whole story smells to high heaven, and you know it.
I ain't passing judgment one way or the other till I hear what the boy has to say.
The idea?
And I still mean what I said about having the court clear. All right. Now go on, Kemp. What happened when you got here to Switchpath with Sykes?
I don't think anyone will remember the night we arrived. I was dead tired from the trip, and I wanted to get some sleep. But the professor was all for getting out of town as quick as possible. He didn't want to answer any questions. So we piled all the stuff into his rattly old car and started for Crescent Rock. It was plenty spooky driving across the desert at night. It was a cold wind. It kicked up the dust, and you breathed dust, bit into it. The old man kept peering straight ahead. And every now and then he'd change the direction.
Swing a little to the right, son. It's an old castle trail. We follow it for 5 miles or so.
He knew the way perfect.
It's Crescent Rock way up there ahead. Just keep it head on.
We didn't detour or backtrack once.
It's another 10 miles now. Distance is pretty tricky out here. Things look closer than they really are.
And then, just as it began to get near dawn, the sky was all smoky and you could start seeing the scrub weeds and cactus growing around the trail. Sykes grabbed my arm and said,
Well, pull up here, son. Walk the rest of the way to the cave. I don't want anybody snooping around while we're down there with those machines. I don't want anyone to know a thing until I'm ready to tell them.
From 72 years ago, April 11th, 1950, Beyond Tomorrow, and the incident at Switchpath. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Monday. The news from 72 years ago today follows these messages.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Ad for what?
With print and broadcasting and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. Beyond Tomorrow, Incident at Switchpath, as it was originally broadcast Tuesday, April 11th, 1950. In the newspapers of that Tuesday, 72 years ago, these were some of the headlines. Harry Bridges, CIO Longshore boss, sentenced yesterday to 5 years in prison for perjury and conspiracy because he lied to conceal the fact he was a communist. The Australian-born West Coast union leader ordered into immediate custody, but when $25,000 bail was set, it was supplied. 2 union aides who testified at his 1945 citizenship hearing and were convicted with Bridges of conspiring to commit perjury were each sentenced to 2 years in prison. The AFL Masters Mates and Pilots Union said yesterday it's broken off government-sponsored contract talks in New York and planned strike of Atlantic and Gulf Coast shipping at midnight Saturday. Captain Charles F. May, general president of the union, told reporters he has advised approximately 4,000 members of the union to walk out for lack of a contract. May says the union has been trying to negotiate a new agreement since last August and has 4 times postponed a strike at the request of the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service. Owen Lattimore demanded last night that Senate investigators hear in public the testimony of a mystery witness who Senator McCarthy says will swear that Lattimore is or was a member of the Communist Party. Lattimore also asked permission to cross-examine the witness through his attorneys. On Capitol Hill, there was speculation that the witness, whose name McCarthy supplied the committee yesterday, is Louis F. Boudens, the former managing editor of the Communist Daily Worker. He renounced the party and is now on the faculty at Fordham University. Boudens could not be reached in New York for a comment. He has appeared as a government witness in communist cases on a number of occasions. George Bernard Shaw would rather spare the rod at all times and said whippings are only inflicted at the whip holder's pleasure. Shaw jumped into the English debate over flogging of prisoners and said it might stop some criminals, but so would boiling in oil. Whipping, he said, doesn't make a better man of the victim. General Ira C. Eaker told the Commonwealth Club of America in San Francisco that the U.S. must recognize its danger and, quote, prepare to fight a war our way, not theirs, in Russia with bombs, not in Turkey or Iran on the ground. And Russia's leadership is able, well-trained. It is ruthless, it is not communist, it is a dictatorship. Dr. Robert A. Millikan, 82-year-old Nobel Prize winner, suggested in New York City that the U.S. supplement the Voice of America broadcast with balloons to carry American propaganda into Russia and her satellites. Mission Republican Senator Ferguson said in Washington Saturday a top-heavy support was promised for a bill to control communists, but he says he expects administration leaders to try to block action on it. Majority Leader Lucas of Illinois retorted, Ferguson is just talking politics. The anti-communist bill would require Reds and Red Front organizations to register. Well, cautious Mrs. Anna Mae Yerkenis of Rochester, New York, switched the bathroom door key to the outside, so 2-year-old Caroline couldn't lock herself in. So Caroline simply turned the usual story around and locked in her mother and another sister. Mrs. Yerkunis was freed by firemen called by neighbors after she knocked out the storm window. Though some of the day's top news stories, as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, April 11th, 1950, on your radio, Beyond Tomorrow, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Just about another 100 feet or so, and we'll be at the entrance to the room, son.
Boy, I never knew how much this torch weighed till I had it strapped on my back.
Sure, I can't give you a hand with it?
No, it's okay, Professor. Don't worry.
Over there, that's all that's left of the place where I used to camp at night. I was afraid to sleep in the room, afraid to sleep outside the cleft. I used to make a fire and bed down on the rock.
Can't say I'd enjoy that over a long period of time.
You can get used to anything if it's important enough. I got used to the dark, the sound of little animals scurrying around, the damp, the smell. Wait, huh? This is it, Kemp. You can take off your pack here.
There. Oh, that feels better. Oh, I'm glad I can still straighten up.
You see that place there? Between the 2 pillar formations? That's it, son. And it's all yours. If that 300 years in the future torch of yours is any good, now's the time to prove it.
From 72 years ago, April 11th, 1950, Beyond Tomorrow. The conclusion next on this Monday. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
On Tuesday's Classic Radio Theater, Parley Bear in an episode of Escape from 69 years ago, April 12, 1953, Classified Secret, Spies on a Cross-Country Bus, and Counter Spies along for the ride. That'll be on Tuesday's Classic Radio Theater, but now the conclusion of Beyond Tomorrow, 72 years ago today, April 12, 1950, Incident-at-Switchpath.
And now, back to our story.
Okay. Now stand clear of the equipment, Professor. Sure that tank is balanced squarely?
I can pile a few more rocks around it.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a try this way. If it starts to move, just give a shout.
I'll watch it, Kemp.
Well, here we go.
How long do you think it'll take, Kemp?
I don't know. It depends on how thick the rock is that's sealing up this room.
Kemp, think of it. On this little piece of wire, I have a complete record of the movement of the polar glacier, which will have all the learned busybodies gnashing their teeth. But have I said anything? Not me. Not Sykes. I'll wait till I can get the whole spool of wire, and I'll translate it into a history of the earth and mankind written in such detail, with such authority, that the name of Sykes will go into the language as a synonym of the miraculously accurate. Me, Alexander Sykes.
Hand me those black goggles, huh? How long have we been at it now, Professor?
Almost 3 hours, son. You better let me spell you.
No, I'll take a breather when I need one. This torch is too heavy for you to handle. By the way, whatever happened to the entrance you used before? How can we have to burn our way in like this?
That, my boy, is an unforeseen quality of the machines. For some reason, they closed themselves up. In a way, I'm glad they did. I was unable to get back in. I was forced to concentrate on my sample. If it hadn't been for that, I doubt I would ever have cracked the code. Whoever left these machines here or how they operate, we may never know. It would be interesting to find out. The important thing now is to get into that room and get that spool of wire. That's all that matters, son. That's all that matters.
6 hours and only 7.5 inches. I've seen that torch of mine walk in a laminated bank vaults like the door was open. What kind of rock is this, anyhow?
There must have been some chemical substance added that we don't know about when the room was sealed.
And you think that machine will still be running after the blast of heat it must have took to build this wall?
It'll be running. They'll both be running. The recorder and the transmitter.
What do you mean, the transmitter?
Because the recorder was set to trip it off. I found that out, too. There's a little gear train waiting by the wire, and when something happened, somewhere on Earth that was just the right thing, a crimp would show in the wire, which would hit the gear train and start up the transmitter.
Yes, but you said...
I saw a crimp in the wire. Something happened which put a wiggle in it, the thing I was looking for all along. I was in the cave the day it happened. There was a sharp click. The transmitter started up, and the wire kept on recording. I looked in the papers the next week to see what it was. I couldn't find a thing. It wasn't until the following August that I found out.
What was the date when it started to transmit?
July 16, 1945.
July 16th.
The day the first atom bomb was exploded at Los Alamos, New Mexico.
Okay, Professor. Hold the light a little higher. This should do it now. Well, there it is. I'll have to wait a minute or so while those edges cool.
30 years' work. 30 years, Kemp.
Professor, who do you think's on the receiving end of that transmitter?
I don't know. I'm only sure whoever he is or they are, they're not any place on this earth. That's why I've been so anxious to get into the room.
Well, we'll throw that canvas over the edges just to be safe. Now, you take the big flashlight and I'll bring the lamp.
We can remove the spool of wire and then destroy the machines. It won't be any good to anyone else once the recording device is disconnected. The light, Kemp. Bring in the light quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, I'm right behind you, Professor. Oh, brother. You weren't kidding about that machinery, were you?
They're beautiful, aren't they, Kemp?
I've never seen anything that looks like that transmitter.
And the recorder, Kemp. Come closer. Examine the recorder. Listen to it humming, Kemp. I knew it would be humming. It's recording everything that's happening to the Earth, the whole Earth. Will we stand here and listen to it humming?
Professor, maybe we better get the wire and get out of here. This place gives me the willies.
Don't be frightened, son. Machines can't hurt you.
It's not the machines. I just don't like this place. Let me hold the flashlight and you disconnect the spool.
There should be a catch lever of some sort which frees it. Something like a movie camera or one of those old-fashioned wire recorders.
Yeah, well, maybe I can find it, Professor. I've worked with these things.
No,
and I know...
No, I can find it. Just let me alone. You forget that I've been... Oh, Kemp!
What's the matter, Professor?
Kemp, the reel is empty. Look. It's only 8 inches of wire on it. Only 8 inches, Kemp. It was almost full before the cave was sealed.
That's impossible. No one could get through that rock. No one, I tell you.
The reel's been refilled. That's what's happened. It's been refilled. Kemp, they've been here.
Who's been here, Professor?
That's what the transmitter was for, Kemp. Tell them when the first atomic power was used on Earth. The recorder tripped the transmitter. It sent out a signal. They answered it and came here and changed the reel. It's the beginning of a new era as far as they're concerned.
Sykes! Who are you talking about? Who are they? What do you mean?
I don't know. But they've been here. And I've lost 30 years' work. 30 years of my life completely gone, disappeared.
Professor, you gotta pull yourself together. We gotta get out of here. I don't like this at all.
Get out. Why get out? Damage has been done now. The reel's gone.
I don't like the way that thing hums. Sounds like it's just sitting there, waiting and... Professor, the crimp. It hit another crimp in the wire. The transmitter started again.
Doesn't matter now. Nothing matters now. Nothing.
Come on and grab that light. I've had enough of this place.
No, I'm going to stay here.
You're not staying in this cave. You're coming with me if I have to carry you.
No, let me alone.
Come on.
I'm staying here, Kemp. Kemp, let go of me.
No.
Let go.
Professor, watch out for that recorder. Professor.
My hands.
Sykes, are you all right?
My hands. Burn my hands. It's so hot.
Yes, yeah. Both, Professor. You're getting hotter every second. Come on. We gotta move. Something tells me this place is gonna blow sky high. Put your arm across my shoulder. I'll guide you out through the cleft.
Air spool. 30 years' work.
Stop talking and walk, Professor. We're getting out of here and fast. I don't remember much about that climb up through the cleft. Dragging Sykes with me every inch of the way. I just knew it was hot. I could hear rock falling and rock bubbling thick and heavy behind me down there in that terrible room. I somehow got to the car and stretched Sykes out of the back seat. I asked him how he was, but he didn't answer me. He just kept looking back towards the cleft and the glow of the lava. And then he whispered,
They knew we'd reached the atomic age. They wanted to be told when. That's what the transmitter did. They came and took the recordings, filled the machine.
Don't try to talk, Professor. I'm going to drive you into town and we'll get the doc to take care of those hands of yours.
They sealed off the room with something they thought only controlled atomic power could break into. This time the recorder was triggered to that power. Your torch did it, Kemp. That 300 years in the future torch, that did it. They think we have atomic power. They'll come back, Kemp.
Who, Professor? Who?
I don't know. I don't know whether they're friends or enemies or where they are. There'd be only one reason why some creature would want to know a thing like that. That's so they could stop us.
Oh, no, Professor. We're not going to be stopped now. Like the papers say, we're in the atomic age if it kills us. But we're in for keeps. Why, humanity would have to be killed off before to get out of this atomic age.
I know that, Kemp. I know. That's what I mean. Oh, Kemp. Kemp, what have we done? What have we done?
Professor? Professor Sykes! I was going to bury him there, out there near the cleft. I thought he'd like to be there. But then I realized that people would be wondering about him, looking for him. So I brought him in. In the excitement, I left town. It just didn't look good to me. I knew nobody would listen to a yarn like that.
Well, now I can see what Brother Kemp was worried about. If that story is true, I, for one, would think twice about telling it.
He's a liar. He's a murdered liar.
I got a kid that reads that kind of stuff, and I never did like to see him at it. Believe me, he's going to cut it out as of right now.
I think this Kemp guy needs a hanging. Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. If we kill off this fellow, we do it legal, see? You just keep quiet a while longer and let me ask this boy a question. Now, look, Kemp. If there's anything in your story, or in that goofy idea of the dead man's about someone coming to kill us off, well, ain't it about time they did?
Yeah. When's the invasion start, kid?
Yeah, maybe we should start digging foxholes now, huh, Kemp?
I didn't say anything about that. I just told you the facts the way they happened. I just told you what Sykes told me.
The whole thing's a lousy pack of lies. It's all lies. Lies!
Wilson!
Bomb! That was a bomb! Yeah, Wilson, look! There! In the sky! Look!
ships. Ships! The sky is full of ships!
You have just heard Incident-at-Switchpath, another program in the new science fiction series Beyond Tomorrow. Michael O'Day was featured in the role of James Kent, and Brett Marson was heard as Professor Sykes. Music was composed and conducted by Henry Silverne, and John Campbell, Jr. was our technical consultant. Beyond Tomorrow was produced and directed by Mitchell Grayson. Listen again next week at the same time for another story about you in the future. You, Beyond Tomorrow.
Only 3 episodes of Beyond Tomorrow were produced by CBS, but it was a good episode. Incident Tomorrow, 72 years ago, April 10th, 1950, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A reminder that all of our shows are available on demand at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, or Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. You can also find the shows at my webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there and find our social media contacts, classicradio.stream. Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers, and tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.